Since the inception of the 911 street naming project, 911 officials have been doing their best to ensure that all streets across the islands are named. News 4 spoke with project manager Juliet Gooding, and she gave us an update.
Okay, to date, I think Providenciales, we've accomplished about 90% named and probably about 85% numbered. We haven't yet numbered the Five Keys area, but for most of the other parts of the islands, they're complete. Any area that isn't named or numbered is basically because the community has not yet submitted names for their streets. So what we're doing, we're going to make another appeal to those particular sections to submit the names.
Once the names of those streets are submitted, Gooding says that in case of an emergency, police officials or emergency ambulance drivers are better able to find the location, but she says that there are still persons unable to give the proper directions.
Definitely, we are having difficulty with residents who are not very good at giving directions. And to get around that, we're asking them to try and use their official addresses. Because once they can tell us their building number and their street name, then we can look it up on the map, and it makes it a lot easier for responders to be directed to them or for us to find them.
Gooding explained to News 4 that a simple way to remember the name of your street is to use it in your day-to-day conversation. When inviting friends and family members to your home, she requested that you use the proper name of your street to direct them. Gooding went on further to say that as far as building numbers, that responsibility lies in the hands of landlords.
If a person is renting or a tenant in an apartment, even though they get an information sheet from us that tells them what their official address is, the responsibility for erecting that number on the building is the responsibility of the landlord. So the tenant will have information that says this is where you're living, but the actual display of the number is the landlord's responsibility.
Gooding also encourages persons to change the details on billing information and at local utility offices such as PPC and Provo Water Company as well.
Well, when you go and open an account, you're the person responsible for giving the banks your address. So we had a meeting with all the banks and all the utility companies, and we said we all need to get on the same page. So one of the things they were looking at is saying to customers, especially new customers, you have to have at least 3 pieces of identification or confirmation of where you live. And one of those pieces of confirmation would be that official letter from 911 that says this is your address. Once you have registered and you've been given your address, then you just tell your utility company or your bank, I want to change my details on my forms at your office.
Gooding ended by telling News 4 that a committee for the street naming process in Grand Turk has already been put together, and street naming for all the other islands will begin soon. For WIV4 News, I'm Amanda Miller.